everyone, it's Julianne here, and welcome back to the Possum Stamps YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you how I created this mini slimline fall-inspired coffee card using the brand new Coffee Besties stamp and die set. Now I'm going to start out my card today by stamping each of the coffee cup images that are all included in the Coffee Besties stamp set, as well as the coffee bean images, and I'm going to be stamping each one of those onto a piece of Express-It blending cardstock using some VersaFine Onyx black ink. Now, since I do plan on doing some Copic coloring today, and this ink is not Copic friendly, I have gone ahead and added some anti-static powder onto my cardstock before I did any of my stamping, so that way I can emboss each one of my images. Now, once I have everything stamped out, I'm then going to come in and add some clear embossing powder over each image, knocking off any excess powder. I'm then going to come in with my heat tool, and I'm going to be heat embossing each of my images. Now, to ensure that I don't get any warping or anything like that, I have made sure to have my heat tool heating off to the side to make sure that it's good and hot before I bring it to my cardstock. Now, before I do any of my coloring, I am going to start working on my background so that way it has plenty of time to dry. Now for my background, I am going to be doing some ink blending using my Distress inks as well as my blender brushes and a piece of Ranger cardstock. Since I did want to have a fall-inspired card today, I am going to be using some fall colors for my background. I'm going to start out with some mustard seed, and I'm going to be adding that color over my entire panel, and then I'll be coming in with a darker shade of Spice Marmalade, and I'm going to be adding that color all around the edges of my panel. Now to deepen and darken those edges even more, I'm going to be coming in and adding a little bit of ripe persimmon over those edges, and then finally I'll be coming in with my darkest color of Vintage Photo and adding that around each edge as well. Now since this is a fall-inspired card, I really felt as though I needed some gold somewhere on my background panel, so I'm going to be placing my cardstock inside of my splat box, and I'm going to be splattering some gold throughout my background. Now, once I'm happy with the amount of splatter, I'll just set that off to the side to completely dry while I start working on my Copic coloring. Now, while my background is drying, I have gone ahead and speeded up the coloring process so that way my video isn't that long, and I'm going to be coloring in each one of my images using my Copic markers. Now, since I did heat emboss my images earlier, I'm not going to have to worry about my markers reacting with that VersaFine ink. But if you didn't want to have to do any embossing, you just need to make sure that you use a Copic-friendly ink, such as Memento Tuxedo Black, so that way you won't have to worry as well. Now, as I color, I will make sure to have all of my marker caps off to the side of the screen, so that way you can follow along if you're interested in any of the colors that I'm using today. And I'll put on some music, and I'll be right back. most of my coloring done, I just couldn't wait and I ran each one of my images through my die cutting machine using the coordinating die set. Now I have gone ahead and placed my images where I think I'm going to want them on my card, and I've placed my panel back inside of my MISTI so that way I can stamp out my sentiment. Now the sentiment that I'm going to be using today does come from the Coffee Besties stamp set, and it reads, "Coffee is always better with a friend." I thought it was the perfect sentiment for my card, and I'm going to be stamping that at the top of my panel in between the two of those coffee cups. I'm now going to start working on adhering everything together. Now to make sure that I keep my images where I want them, I am going to add a piece of washi tape to the front of them, and that's just going to keep them together so that way I can flip them over and add my adhesive to the back. Now for most of the coffee cups, I am just going to be adhering those directly down to my background using some liquid adhesive. But for the coffee beans, as well as that orange cup of coffee, I am going to be adhering each one of those down using some foam adhesive, and that's going to give my card that little bit of added dimension. Once I have each one of my images adhered, I'm now going to be adhering my background down to my card base with some more of that foam adhesive, and my card base is mini slimline size. I've trimmed that down to 7 3/4 by 6, and I've scored that at 3 1/2 for a top folding card base. Now once I have my background adhered, I'm going to be coming in with one of the brand new Sequin mixes. This is one of my personal favorites from this release, and that's the Roasted Coffee Mix. It has a variety of different brown sequins as well as some gold, and I thought that that really fit the theme of my card. I'm going to be scattering a few of those sequins throughout, and then I'm going to be adhering each one of those down using some liquid adhesive. Once I have each one of those adhered, that's going to complete my fall-inspired coffee card using the new Coffee Besties stamp and die set. I really love how this card came out, and I can't wait to create some more coffee-inspired card using this set. I hope that you all enjoyed my video as well, and if you haven't already, please give this video a thumbs up, as well as subscribe to the Possum Stamps YouTube channel. If you're interested in any of the supplies I used today, I will have all of those listed down in the description box. And as always, I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you next time, and happy crafting!